here. We are out in a pretty flat day, on a pretty flat day, but it's a little gloomy, and surprise guest.
Woo! What up?
Captain Jack Spiro. Check out his channel on YouTube. And we got Evan and Chris in there, as usual. And we're looking to dive today. We're gonna do the snapper thing, or whatever else swims past our spears. Gonna go ahead and get geared up now and switch to you guys with the mass cam. So we'll be going back and forth between cameras, hopefully. Hopefully we shoot some fish, and we'll hop in this gloomy, dark water. Yeah, you can just keep throwing that chum right on my head. So we are at it again, another day of commercial spearfishing. As soon as I hopped in the water, I was happy to see it was blue. It was pretty water. There were some jellyfish, and it looked like a little green down deep, but all in all, it was really, really good looking conditions for diving. Jack made the first drop down. You can see him going there past the flashers, and it did not take long to put our first fish in the boat. He went down there, found a nice red snapper, at least get the skunk out of the boat, get going, and get a nice little fish to start off the day. I started to make a drop down just seconds after him, and I just went really, really slow, got my eyes on a fish that was moving away from me, but took my time and made it happen. Now these fish weren't giants by any means, but we were just looking to get some fish in the boat before we could find some real big ones. Once we started seeing some bigger fish, then we can be more selective about it, but the main goal is to get the meat in the boat, and that's what we did on these first two drops with some nice little 4-pound red snappers. There we go. First arse for the day. Woo! Nice. Woo! So we got 2 fish in the boat, and it was time to go get some more. So we hopped back in the water, got the guns all loaded back up. Jack's already there, ready to rock and roll. And now we're going to switch to Jack's view and show you what he saw on his next dive. So he got down below the fish. This is an angle you don't see all that often while free diving, but it turned out awesome. So you can see he positioned himself below the fish. Shooting up at a fish can be a little different, a little tricky, because you're also fighting gravity, but he was so close that he had plenty of power, got a great shot at the fish, got him up to the surface, and that is a much bigger fish than we had at the beginning of the day. I'm on, my camera's on, right? Mine? Yeah. Got it. Woo! Yeah, boy! That's what we're looking for. Big boy.
Big boy reds. That's what we're talking about. Woo! Munching. Here we go.
The game plan for the day was to pretty much alternate dives. So Jack just pulled up that nice big red snapper. Now it was my turn. I drifted down into the chum, and you can see that red snapper picked up a nice piece of chum that I accidentally dropped. I didn't mean to drop the whole chum ball, and started swimming back down to the bottom. So that fish had no reason to turn around and come back, and I thought that this dive was pretty much a bust. And right as I was getting ready to give up and come back up to the surface, I spotted a very, very nice fish that was a little too curious. Right there is kind of like my signature tactic that I really like to use when hunting these fish, and that's pick out what they're going for and aim at that. This fish was moving in on that piece of chum, and you can see I just aim at that piece of chum, and sure enough, the fish swam right in line with my spear. I was able to get a nice shot on him, get him up fast, quickly brain him like you can see right there, and have a very quick, humane kill.
Hey, how much
Does that beat those little 1-pounders? Oh yeah.
Hey, how much did it weigh?
I didn't get it yet.
Oh,
Jack, we're like almost twinsies on these. Dude, that was sick. Me and Jack were down there, and I saw Jack struggling, or not struggling, but pulling his fish up. So I ditched the chum ball that I was kind of holding on to. And then once Jack got his fish all taken care of, I saw the chum ball sinking. I started dropping down that, and that's what you guys probably saw. That big fish grabbed that chum ball and started swimming away. But then this guy came in. Yeah, look at that, perfect shot on both these fish.
Dude, that was sick. I was bottom up. I like swam from under him. I was like looking at the bottom and I looked up at the chum and he was above me. And I'm just like this, like popped it from above.
We'll get that clip in here.
So here we are working the bottom of a section of reef, and we were seeing some mangroves, some big mangroves shoot in and out of these ledges, but it's pretty hard to get a shot on them when they move so fast. And now we're switching over to Jack's view, and on his way up, he's going back through the chum and was able to line up another nice red. Not as big as the previous one, but still another fish for the boat, and he made that happen. So I'm at the surface just watching Jack. I'm mainly focusing on him, making sure he's safe, making sure he's going to land his fish, and he's good to go. And I have my head above the water asking if he's seen anything else down there, and he yells, "Cobia, cobia." And I look down, I see the cobias under me, the shark under me, so I make a quick drop down to try to close the gap and see if any of these cobia are nice size for the box. I picked out the biggest cobia in the school. He was right at 36 inches. I took a long shot on him, but it was a perfect shot, spined him, and turned his lights out real fast, and we got to add him to the boat. Right after that, Jack did the exact same thing. He lined up on a nice kingfish, pulled the trigger, and hit him instant quiver mode. He spined that fish, and it was lights out real fast to put our first kingfish in the boat for the day. Then to follow up Jack's kingfish, he made another deep drop down there looking for the snapper. He's drifting down in the chum, and he ended up right above a nice one. He made a really solid shot on it from above, and those can be pretty tricky shots because your target's a lot smaller. But as he started to pull his fish up, I saw he had it, everything was good to go, and I made a drop down to try to get in that chum before all the fish ate it. So as we switch back to my view, you get a look at the chum. You can see it all floating down there, and there's a snapper shooting all around, and it's not a red snapper. It's a mutton snapper this time, and it's actually a pretty solid mutton snapper. And in retrospect, I wish I took the shot, but for whatever reason, I didn't at the time. I don't know if I was too worried about missing or what, but it was a nice mutton snapper. After missing out on that mutton snapper, I was ready to put another fish in the boat, and you can see a very big red snapper here that came really high up. He was super comfortable with us, so I just did my thing, drifting really, really slow, closing the gap, and I had a feeling this was going to be a pretty easy shot. Just wait for that fish to turn broadside. Perfect shot on him. He did a little bit of drag pulling there. But I was really close to the surface. I wasn't worried about him putting me in the rocks or anything like that, so I was able to get to the surface, kind of fight him, but I was down there for a while, and I ended up calling Jack to kind of help me. And you can see I wave him down here, give him my gun, and he kind of helped pull the fish up from there because I was running out of breath on this dive. That dive was right about a minute and a half. At first, we didn't realize how big the fish was, but as it was pulling and pulling and pulling, it became clearer that this was no 10-pound fish. This is a very, very nice red snapper, and you'll see exactly how big he was here in a second.
You see that nurse shark come all the way up? It was a nurse shark.
Oh. We got fish down there too. I'm gonna go back to Jack.
Damn, boy.
We got fish down there. Even Evan's getting down on the action.
So we got a lot of nice quality fish in the boat so far, and we're just about done. We could really use one more fish, and Jack was up. So he drifted down very, very slow. You can see the snapper just start swimming away, but they want that chum bad, and if you can make yourself appear to not be a threat, they will turn around, they will slow down, they will give you a good shot on them most of the time. And that's what he does here. He's not kicking fast, he's not chasing the fish, he's basically just drifting down. And this is a straight above shot. He lines it up, and you'll see what happened. perfect spine shot. The fish never even knew what hit him. Jack swam down there, got the fish, and another very, very, very nice fish to kind of finish off the day. But while all this was unfolding, Evan had a nice surprise in the boat waiting for us. That was a sick little adventure right there. I saw Jack was dropping down, and then he kind of got out of sight, and I saw him pull the trigger, I heard him pull the trigger, and I just saw his fish roll. So I knew he was good to go. He grabbed the fish, started swimming him up, and I see Evan hooked up on something just like big. So once Jack got up, I told him, I'm going over to the boat. We thought he had a big cobia. He had that stud king. So couple stud reds real quick, stud king, more reds. That's a big one there. Woo. We're gonna go ahead and weigh these things up. We're probably done with snapper for the day. We might do a couple more drifts, maybe shoot some kings or something. Or maybe we've seen some mangroves and muttons, but we'll go ahead and weigh these things up.
You know what's good. Like and subscribe.
We got some. That cobia looks so little compared to these giants.
Look at the next leg king.
Joey Antonelli.
Look at that.
Man.
We are heading in. Gotta beat the weather. Yeah. Awesome day, awesome day. So you guys got to see all the fish. Again, check out Captain Jack Spiro on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel, check it out. You'll see his point of view of all the video. I might have a couple of his clips, but he's the deep diver. He goes down there and check his stuff out. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.